let's handle our exception. Exception handling. We're going to use the try-catch method to do this. We're going to try, and in our block of code, we're going to, instead of using an integer, we're going to work with a double, and that's going to eliminate some of our problems. We still want to create a more robust program, of course, but I'm going to show you how we can trap for a particular exception. So what we see here is the previous code. I just commented it out, and in the previous example, you might want to uncomment this section in order to take a look at it, because that's going to be in there as well. So just make sure you don't have this additional information in there. You just want to uncomment that, and then you can keep going on. Alright, so we have our normal read line. Now we're going to try. So what this is saying is, try this block of code. Try it. And we're going to catch exceptions that come here. In this particular case, we're going to try to catch system.fieldAccess exception. Well, let's see what happens when we try to do that. Now, we're going to also output information here. We're going to output that you can't do that. Less than a friendly message. Keep your messages very friendly. And we're going to output the exception message, because you can just type in ex dot, and then you can get, like I alluded to, the different methods that you can work with. We're going to work with the message. You can also get the source if you wanted to. I'll show you that. And you can get the type, and you don't have to convert it to a string, but it's good practice to do that. Get type. Depends on what it returns, but you don't have to do that. If it's returning a string or whatever type it's actually returning, this is going to do that work for us. But it's good practice to actually use the toString method there. Alright, so we're going to run this and see what happens. We're going to enter A's. Whoops, exception. We didn't catch that. So, unhandled exception. We didn't handle that exception. We got system.format.exception. So let's mark that. Edit, mark. Right click to copy it. We'll close that. And instead of doing this, because we were trying to catch system.fieldAccess exception, well, we didn't have one of those. We had a system.format exception. So let's try this now. There we go. Wait a second. Enter a number. Error. This is the message. Input string was not in a correct format. This is the source, MS Core library. This is the type, system.format exception. We handled it. We took care of it. We didn't do anything about it, but we just told the user, hey, you didn't do something right. Normally, you would want to come back and go do another method that's going to go back and ask the user again to input their information. Depends on what you have in the try-catch area here. And you can put more information there. You can grab this information and place it here. And then you would have to catch for different exceptions. So it depends on how you write your programs, because you can get pretty elaborate with this, because you can see this is going to clutter up your code quite a bit. And I can't say that it clutters up your code because it's actually helping you out. But there are robust ways to actually work with try-catch so that you're not having try-catches everywhere within your programming. You want to call a lot of methods and create your methods to do specific things. And then within those methods, then you're going to have a lot of try-catches. Or you can write a more robust system for actually working with your exceptions. So it's up to you. But this is how you would handle these with the try block. And then catch if it's caught. If this system.format exception is caught, this block of code is going to get executed. So what we can do as well, we can just get rid of that altogether and just do exception, because we don't have to say system dot, as we know, because we're already assuming that. So we can just put exception, and then this is going to catch any exception. And then within this, you could further process your exceptions that you're expecting, switch statements, things like that, if-thens. You can also work with another method that's going to go to an exception class or use an exception class to figure out what happened. That's another way. That's a more robust way. And then you have a lot of try-catches, though, throughout your application. But multiple ways that you can do that. And there you go. Because it didn't matter what the exception was, we found system.format exception because of what I just said. Any exception was caught there. That's a great way to work there. So you can use it as you want to. And note that if we were actually to put a dot on our exception here, you can get further information. You can test for equality and things like that. But the more exciting or the more useful is to take your variable when you get it down. After you've declared it, then you can get all the different methods and properties and such that you can work with this. Note that we also have this stack trace as well. We'll output that as well, just so you can see a separator. We have this separating it. Start with debugging. Do it again. There you go. This is the stack trace. And you've seen this, all this detailed information that's tracing the error and how it occurs. This is just giving you the details that you get when you don't handle an exception as well. So you can use it as you need to. And furthermore, you can also see that we changed this to a double, but we also use that parse again. So it's easier to get a handle on things as well, using that parse. We can also continue by talking about finally. Finally is going to get executed if the entire try block was able to execute properly without any exceptions. So anything that you put within here is going to finally execute after all the try information, all the try statements execute properly. So we'll do start with debugging, without debugging, put a number in. Finally. Okay, you did it right. So anything in there is going to get executed, and that can help you out quite a bit as well. Also note that you can throw your own exceptions as well.